structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Sing your praises.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
Later, when you reach this district.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's structures are fortified. 5
Ready when you
seconds
are.
remaining. Radiant team ban.
I look pretty pale on my camera. Lighting here. Color.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Start the broadcast. And oh wait, let's not.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
All right, let's go.
10
3,
seconds
2.
remaining. Dire team ban.
Good morning, ladies and gents, and
Radiant
welcome
team
back to the
pick.
BTS Pro Series SCA Season 12 as we head over to the second last day of our games. We're going to kick this day off with the top 4 teams still remaining in the tournament, as this one is starting to spice up really nicely. Execration, Boom,
10
Hokori, and
seconds
SMG
remaining.
have made their way through, and now we're looking for our first grand
5
finalist
seconds
out of the upper
remaining.
bracket semi-final, with Execration taking on Boom with T-Panda, and of course the man Harry Freak here with me. Harry, Execration, the last time they met against Boom, that was a 2-0 series for them. They
Dire
beat
team
Fnatic 2-0 in the upper bracket, while Boom took down SMG 2-0. So both undefeated in the upper bracket, and one of these teams is gonna have to drop to the lower bracket. Who do you think has the better guns heading in to this series?
I'd say Execration. First of all, we've already discussed that
10
Boom
seconds
Esports are
remaining.
playing the same type of lineup throughout the whole tournament. Execration has been
seconds
an
remaining.
up-and-coming team for quite a long time. Always had a... they always had the talent behind them, but they just made some slight mistakes which made them look. So in the past DPC season, they started getting themselves up, picking themselves ground, and just getting better and better. And now we can see them in the BTS Pro Series actually beating some
Dire
teams that,
team pick.
you know,
Radiant
people would expect them not to be able to beat, as they as you mentioned, they won against Boom, and they won relatively
Radiant
recently. It
team
wasn't at the
back.
start of the group stages, it was at the
Enchantress.
tail end of it. So I'm definitely thinking Execration, they have the momentum.
Dire team
Boom
back.
Esports might still be wanting to play the same type of Dota, so as they get themselves into the mood for TI and maybe use something differently there. So we don't really know what's happening behind the curtains, but overall, if I'd have to pick a favorite for this series, I'd go for
10
Execration.
seconds remaining.
Yep. I
Radiant
guess
team
that's
back.
it doesn't even sound too weird to say it out loud at this point, because I think a lot of like viewers who are not watching too often are like, hey, it's a TI team, and like, who are these Execration guys? I think that's a heavy underestimation, because you look at the way Execration's been grinding throughout the course of this
10
tournament, getting
seconds
better,
remaining.
understanding their strengths, which heroes work for us. And
5
I think
seconds
they've done a
remaining.
lot of good work with scouting out
Dire
their
team
opponents,
back.
looking at some of the replays, for example, discussing, okay, what might we expect potentially for them to play, what kind of Dota do they play, looking at heat maps for wards and stuff like that. I think Execration has improved massively and is no longer that team that should be underestimated at any
10
moment.
seconds
So
remaining.
I feel like Execration is really rising up to that level
5
where they
seconds
are
remaining.
one of the top
Radiant
SEA teams.
team
I
back.
know this also sounds like a bold statement, but I want to stand with those words. I want to stand behind Execration and see that this is going to be a tight series,
Dire
even if
team
Boom
back.
looks like the best team, as Fnatic, which I hyped up to be the best team in SCA, already got knocked out from the upper bracket, from the lower bracket, and out of the tournament completely. So this is again another statement series coming up, and looking at their numbers, everything is rather even. Couriers,
10 seconds
stacking
remaining.
game, Roshan kills. The only big difference maker
5
is the
seconds
death
remaining.
averages here. Boom with 19.2, Execration with 29.4, even if they've played the same amount of games.
You know, I wouldn't go as so far to say Execration are one CA. For me, why I'm such a big fan of the DPC is that I value consistency. Else, you know, Execration, they've maybe been good for the past 2 months, but before that they just weren't looking so great. So if they're consistently good for let's say a year, like Boom have been for a long period of time, then I would put them at that category. You know, maybe it's just the patch that favors them, maybe they just found their footing right now, but you know, one thing can throw them off. You never know. So I would kind of stay away from putting them in that category, but definitely the current momentum favors them, and they look really strong and capable of beating any.
That is very true. Like series results, the teams that Boom has been playing against, and how much success they've had, it does look a lot shinier in terms for Boom. And also like win averages, basically. Like their wins are looking so much better. Their percentage is a lot higher than Execration's. Could be the tournament where Execration lays the groundwork for the next DPC. Lock in the roster, stick to these players. And one big question: Vincenzo or Abeng? Who's the player that they want to stick to? But hey, let's talk about the draft, because we already got a lot of heroes on this as well. You guys want us to talk about the draft, so let's go on to it. Boom's Schem in this versus matchup is the only player out of the entire tournament holding a record, and that is the most hero healing on Chen. So now you see heroes coming out like Enchantress, Omni Knight. You've got a bit of sustainability, stretch out these fights a little bit longer. Kiting tools coming in, Omni Knight with the saving tool against the Bat Rider. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here in this draft. And Tino Visage, I can't help but say I like this.
Yeah, the problem I have with Execration's draft is that Bob is going to be playing the Bat into a Queen of Pain, into an Omni. So his laning phase, he's going to do really badly in it. And when it comes to later portions of the game, he might get completely countered. Bob has been the most important player of Execration. When Bob is unstable, the whole team looks unstable. When Bob is crushing it, he's kind of pulling his team, and they're looking amazing. Before, let's say 2-3 months ago, Bob would be this X factor, very inconsistent. He would have high highs and very low lows, and it would not look good for Execration in terms of consistency. The difference in this tournament is that most of the games Bob has been looking great. Right now, Boom has targeted him specifically. He's gonna lose the lane. Execration, they haven't made any adjustments. It's gonna be an offlane Visage, mid lane Bat Rider. This Queen of Pain, she's gonna be an issue for the Bat, and of course, as the game progresses, the Omni Knight will be a problem as well. So right now, I'm definitely gonna be.
Can you actually? You can't dispel Heavenly Grace, right? It's undispellable. Should
Heavenly,
if I remember correct.
Dispellable.
So Enchantress can't even remove it off, which kind of puts this Enchantress in a weird place where you've got your kiting tools on the Lishrak, you can slow him down.
It is
so it is dispellable. Then I understand the Enchantress pick. The Repel, yeah, Repel was a bit powerful at the time. Enchantress then does make sense because you do want to get rid of the Heavenly Grace, the extra basically tankiness provided for Boom. Heroes maybe could even be the strength carry that they want to kind of utilize with this hero to come in last. You see the Slarks and the Omni Knights getting rid of... Oh, sorry, the Slarks and the Troll Warlords getting out of the pool for Execration, just to avoid these heroes that are very good against Edge and Earthshaker and the Visage.
Yeah, but any BKB hero is something that Execration don't want to be too much against. I think for Execration, it's gonna be very important that the lanes go decently well, apart from the mid lane, you know. And with that, you need to get the BKB on the Bat, some key items on your heroes before there are BKBs on the other side. Because when the BKB, let's say, comes out on the Lesh, obviously don't item, you just don't die, and these heroes are relatively squishy. Enchantress, Shaker, even the Visage sometimes feels like a fat hero, but against the Lesh, Gravekeeper's Cloak just doesn't. It's gonna be a very hard timing to hit for Execration. They're probably gonna try to get a carry that's gonna help them somewhat if they miss that timing, but ideally that shouldn't happen on the side.
It's kind of like, well, you're not going full on early game, but you have mid game capability. So if Monkey King hits a decent build this game and is a nuisance for Boom, then this Visage gets online and helps up the
10
Monkey King,
seconds
buffs up the
remaining.
team. We had a good conversation yesterday about the Visage in
5
general, where you're like,
seconds remaining.
level 1, you are scary as hell. Level 3 onward, okay, you have your capabilities, you have your lane saving tools at level 6, but you kind of hit this empty void, basically, where you need to get an item, which is usually Rage Pack, or at least the flats, and hit level 12 to level 15 with the talent as soon as possible to then be online again. So you're strong at the start, then you hit like this emptiness, and then you start to kick off really well with this hero, destroying objectives and being a nuisance around the map, plus the auras for the team and for the birds to really do damage against targets like Dark Willow, for example. So I like the Monkey King addition to this, but like you said, they have this kind of timer that they need to hit, but in the same time, Boom is gonna match it up with the Tidehunter to really bring out that mid-game power.
Execration really need to destroy this Tide. There is no other words to put at it. This hero needs to have a bad time, or more so Palos needs to have a really good time, because as you mentioned, there is this void in the game where Visage just doesn't feel that powerful, and this is where teams actually prove if they can play with the hero or not. How well are you gonna be playing around it? Monkey